Hey guys, I'm Odyssey, and this is my three-way intersection right here. First thing you'll probably notice is that it looks a little bit different than what you're used to. And the reason for that is because of the way it functions. Now, I've always liked messing with intersections, and I've always had a lot of fun with them, but I've never really liked ramps. Ramps have always been very, very annoying, and so I decided to try and make a intersection around this booster block mechanic here. And that's what I did. That's why it looks the way it does. Uh, well, first of all, notice you have like one default line right here, this middle line, and the other two lines from the right and the left kind of feed into the middle line. So if I'll demonstrate that from the right and from the left. And the reason for that is so that no matter which of the three directions you come from, you'll end up on this one unpowered powered rail here. Now once you get to this unpowered powered rail, all you have to do is choose your direction by choosing one of three buttons. First of all, let me put down some blocks, so that way the minecart will just go ahead and come back into the intersection on its own. Alright, so first of all we'll go left. I guess I might as well write it. Middle. And right. So, oh, left shift. Have not gotten used to that yet. Not at all. Yeah, so I think the intersection is very clean looking. I mean, with the exception of the rails themselves, all you see are the 4 blocks on the surface, 3 of them for the button selector and 1 for the booster block. And it works really good. I mean, first of all, notice all the powered rails. So because you're coming into a block and not a ramp, speed's not a problem. You can go full speed. You can also go all 3 directions, so you can go back the way you came for whatever reason. And also, you only have to stop one time, and you only have to hit one button to go where you want to go. So those are all really good attributes. The only downside that it has is that because it feeds all the directions into one spot, it could be troublesome on like a heavily trafficked multiplayer server where you got a bunch of people using the line. If more people, or if 2 or more people come into the intersection at the same time, they'll collide with each other, so you'll need like queuing stations or something. But otherwise, if you have like a lightly trafficked line, or especially a single player world, I think an intersection like this would be ideal. Yeah, so I got 2 different versions over there, and that's because of 2 different button selectors. So before I actually show you how to build it, I want to just take a minute and talk about button selectors, because I used to use this type of button selector all the time, pre 1.5, for situations like this, because it was a nice and easy way just to put buttons right next to each other and hide all the redstone. But that no longer works, as you can see. And so I've had to come up with a few different things. And well, first of all, I found out that that if you move the pistons down one and out in front one, and then put powered rails behind them, it functions in the same way that that used to, and that is by firing a piston individually. So this allows you to have a nice little tileable selector like that used to do. And that's because these pistons are actually being powered by the button above them, but they just don't know it until the powered rail behind them updates them. So that's how that works. In the same theory as updating things with powered rails, you could very easily do the same thing with a hopper dropper combo. So in each of these hopper droppers I have one item, and this gives you a nice little silent button selector with all the redstone hidden, so that's pretty cool. Now the one I'm going to be showing you how to build is the piston version, and that's because it's quite a bit smaller. I got the piston version on the right and the silent button selector on the left, and the reason for that is because this puts out a very fast pulse, which is not a problem for most things, but it's not ideal for track switching, because when the track switch is too fast, it's hard to get the timing right. Sometimes it'll like throw the minecart backwards and stuff. So you have to use these little pulse extenders and everything. It's not too hard, but it's just a little more baggage. Well, let's just go ahead and take a look at the piston version. As you can see, there's not a whole lot going on under the hood here. I mean, this is pretty simple. The cool thing about the way this is made is that most of the logic is taken care of by the layout of the track as opposed to the redstone. So that's why the redstone is so easy. Well, the first priority of getting this to work is making it so that no matter which of these 3 buttons you hit, this power rail right here will be powered. And that's just done by this line of redstone right here, and any 3 of these these redstone blocks will activate that line of redstone. And then as far as going left and right, you just wire the left button to change the state of this track, and wire the right button to change the state of this track. And then of course the middle button, you don't have to change any states, so all you have to do is power that powered rail. Very simple, very effective concept, and really easy. I think anyone should be able to build this. Yeah, so let's just go ahead and get into the building part. Alright guys, so let's go ahead and get to building. I've got a little platform up here, and we got 3 different tracks coming from 3 different directions and all converging at one point. So let's go ahead and build an intersection. Now the first thing you're going to want to do is find the point where all 3 tracks converge and put down a block. This is going to be the booster block that we base the entire intersection around. So next thing we do is grab some powered rails and some normal rails, and we're going to build the rest of the track. We're going to go powered rail, corner, powered rail, corner, powered rail, and corner. And this is the middle line like I showed you earlier, and the left line is going to converge in like this, and the right line is just going to come around like this. And we'll probably want another powered rail right here. Alright, so the next thing we want to do is grab some levers. Let me get some of those. And we're going to want to power all 3 of these, or these 3 powered rails, but we're going to leave this one unpowered because that's what we're going to use to control the movement of the minecart. So there we go, and right there, and that one as well. Alright, so now the next thing we need to do is build the button panel. Now, the first instinct is probably going to be to center the button panel with this block right here, just because it's kind of sticking out. But remember, our minecart rider is going to be sitting right here on this powered rail, so we really want to center the button panel with the powered rail, so that way it's centered with the player. I like putting a 2 block space. I guess you could put a 3 block space if you really wanted to, but 2 blocks seems to be the most aesthetic. Put some buttons on the front of those. Next thing we're going to do is come under here, put a 1 block space, and put 3 more blocks. Grab some sticky pistons and put some downward facing sticky pistons on the front of those blocks, and then repeaters on the back, or powered rails on the back, excuse me. And like I showed you earlier, this is going to give us a little selector with all the redstone hidden, so that's pretty neat. Next thing we need to do is grab some redstone blocks and put those underneath each of the sticky pistons. Alright, so the first thing we need to do to get this started up and running is we need to make it so that no matter which of these 3 buttons we push, this powered rail right here always gets powered, and that's not that difficult to do. All we gotta do is come down here, put a 2 block space, or 2 blocks down, 1 block up, and then put 3 blocks, and put 3 redstone on top of that. 1 block forward, I meant, not 1 block up. Let me grab some of this stuff. It's kind of annoying me. And now anytime we hit one of these buttons, this line of redstone will get powered. And we're going to take that power with the repeater, put that into a torch and block, and then into another torch and block, and that will go right up into the powered rail. So now whenever we hit one of these buttons, powered rail gets powered. Now we actually already have 1/3 of the directions wired, because remember the middle track, you don't have to change any states, so middle's already done. All we gotta do now is wire it so that the left button switches the state of that track, and the right button switches the state of this track. Now, here's the important part. This part is really the only confusing part about the whole thing, is we're getting ready to put down the track switching torches. And because of the issues, or because of the characteristics of tracks in the southeast rule, which I'm sure you're aware of, it's not going to be the same for everyone. Depending on what direction your intersection is orientated, is going to change which of these track switching torches needs to have an inverted input, and which track switching torch needs to have normal input. Now there's an easy way to tell, and that's just to pay attention when you first put the track switching torch down. So for example, if when you put your track switching torch down and the track switches like that one did, that means you're going to have to invert the input going into it. And I'm just going to put down a block as a reminder, and I'd advise you do the same, because it's kind of annoying if you forget, which one needs to be inverted and which one doesn't. But if you put your track switching torch down and the track does not switch, it's just going to need a normal input. But make sure you remember, because like I said, it's
it's annoying if you forget which one is which. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do now is wire the left button to power into this track switching torch to switch the track. In order to do that, I'm just going to come right here, put a block down like that, one here, and then one up there as well. Or I'll just leave it like this for now. We're going to put a repeater right here so as not to interfere with that redstone, and then just a piece of redstone right here. Now, if the input going into your torch, if you need a normal input, then just take the output from down here, because that will give you a normal input. But if you need to invert the signal, like I do in my case, we're going to take the output from one block higher, because this effectively inverts the signal. If you pay attention to the torch when I put the redstone down. So it's just a quick little shortcut to invert the signal instead of using a torch to do it. And that's the left button done. So now on to the right button. Same thing, we're going to take the output from the side of the redstone block and just take it over here. And what we're going to do is go redstone, repeater, redstone, and repeater. And right here, same thing as over on the other side. If you need to take a inverted signal, take the output from one block higher. That will invert your signal. But if you only need a normal one, just take it from one block lower, as in my case, and that will give you a normal signal. So now whenever we hit the left button, power rail gets powered and the track switches to the left. And when we hit the right button, power rail is powered, track switches to the right. Now, one last thing we need to do here is make sure that both of these repeaters are fully delayed. And the reason for that is because it takes a little bit of time for the minecart to get around this corner. And if you don't delay the repeaters, the track will switch too fast. But delay them and it works perfectly. And let me take a quick look around, make sure I'm not forgetting anything. I think we're done. It's a pretty quick build, and you should be able to cover up everything, hide all the redstone without cutting anything off, and you'll get a intersection that looks like the one I showed you over here. So yeah, I hope you guys found that useful and didn't think it was too difficult. I think it's pretty easy. Everyone should be able to build that, I think. One last thing I'd probably mention is that in my next video upload, I'm going to show you the 4-way version, which functions pretty much in the same way as that 3-way version. It's the same concept, and it's just as easy to build. So that's pretty cool. I mean, having a 3-way version that looks that nice and is easy to build is pretty cool, but having a 4-way version is really cool. So I'll be excited to show you guys that video, and that will be my next upload. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching.